Back in the U.S. embrace. This opinion by Zahid Hussain examines the revival and transactional nature of Pak-U.S. ties under the Trump administration. The recent visit of Pakistan's foreign minister to Washington and his meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State is being seen as yet another sign of fast improving relations between the two countries that were formerly allies. This opening sentence serves as the thesis statement by describing the event, the foreign minister's visit, and its significance, a sign of improving ties. Secretary of State is a jargon term for the U.S. cabinet official in charge of foreign policy. The interaction between the top diplomats came about a month and a half after President Donald Trump hosted Pakistan's army chief at a White House lunch, the first time a U.S. president has feted a military chief from Pakistan who wasn't the head of state as well. Top diplomats refers collectively to the foreign minister and secretary of state. Hosted at a White House lunch is a diplomatic ritual symbolizing honor and high regard. Feted is a verb meaning to celebrate or honor lavishly. Head of state is a jargon term for the official leader, for example, president or monarch of a country. This sentence means that Washington signaled a special level of esteem, unprecedented since Pakistan's military leaders typically visit only if they also serve as head of state. It signaled a dramatic revival of relations that had remained dormant for the past 4 years. Signaled is a verb meaning indicated or revealed. Dramatic revival is an idiom meaning a striking or sudden restoration. Dormant is an adjective meaning inactive or asleep. This sentence means that after a period of minimal engagement, these visits mark a clear renewal of bilateral cooperation. It's certainly a positive development. This sentence expresses approval of the thaw in relations. Yet the contours of the new phase of the Pak-U.S. relationship have yet to fully emerge. Contours is a metaphor for the defining features or shape of something. This sentence means that although ties are warming, the precise scope and depth of cooperation remain unclear. It seems more of a transactional than strategic relationship at this point. Transactional is an adjective, meaning based on exchanges of goods or services rather than long-term alignment. Strategic relationship is a jargon term for a partnership founded on shared long-term goals. This sentence means that current engagement appears driven by immediate exchanges, security cooperation, aid, rather than a comprehensive long-range alliance. There is also the question of whether the resetting of ties is the result of an institutional policy review in Washington or just Trump's personal initiative, considering the American leader's mercurial approach to key matters in international relations. Resetting of ties is an idiom meaning restarting or redefining a relationship. Institutional policy review is jargon for a systematic evaluation by government agencies. Mercurial is an adjective meaning unpredictable or volatile. This sentence means that it's unclear if this rapprochement reflects a thoughtful U.S. government strategy or merely President Trump's shifting whims. Pakistan's military and civilian leadership seem pleased with the way they have boosted the U.S. president's ego by nominating him for the Nobel Peace Prize. But the results of such actions are short-lived in light of the extreme ups and downs that this critical bilateral relationship has experienced over 7 decades. Boosted ego is an idiom meaning flattered or inflamed one's pride. Short-lived is an adjective meaning not lasting long. Extreme ups and downs is an idiom meaning dramatic fluctuations. This sentence means that while Pakistan may temporarily flatter Trump, the history of volatile Pak-U.S. ties suggests any goodwill may quickly evaporate. Historically, the Islamabad-Washington engagement has been framed narrowly, dictated either by short-term security interests or a common challenge. Framed narrowly is a metaphor meaning defined in a limited way. This sentence means that past cooperation usually focused only on immediate threats, Afghanistan, terrorism, rather than broader strategic alignment. With the end of America's 2-decade-long war in Afghanistan in 2021, Pak-U.S. relations have come full circle. Come full circle is an idiomatic expression meaning return to an original state. This sentence means that after cooperating on the Afghan conflict, the partnership has reverted to its pre-2001 dynamics. Originally touted as a strategic relationship, it morphed into a transactional one. Touted is a verb meaning promoted or lauded. Morphed is a verb meaning transformed. This sentence means that what began as a deep alliance shifted over time into a more limited, exchange-based partnership. Perhaps the biggest confusion in various U.S. departments revolves around how to deal with Pakistan as friend or foe. Revolves around is a phrasal verb meaning centers on. Friend or foe is a set phrase meaning ally or adversary. This sentence means that U.S. policymakers remain divided over whether to treat Pakistan as a partner or a threat. Post 9/11, the two nations could at best be described as frenemies. Frenemies is a portmanteau meaning rivals who sometimes cooperate. This sentence means that since 2001, Pakistan and the U.S. have alternated between partnership and mistrust. Pakistan was blamed for America's humiliation in Afghanistan. This sentence means that Washington held Islamabad partly responsible for the U.S. withdrawal difficulties. During Joe Biden's administration, the relationship hit a new low. Hit a new low is an idiom meaning reached its worst point. This sentence means that under President Biden, engagement deteriorated further. After the Afghan war, changing regional geopolitics created a fresh alignment of forces. The growing strategic alliance between the U.S. and India and the China-Pakistan axis are reflected in the emerging geopolitics. Regional geopolitics is jargon meaning power relations among neighboring states. Axis is a metaphor for a formal alliance. This sentence means that post-Afghanistan, rival blocs, U.S.-India versus China-Pakistan, have shaped South Asian power dynamics. Pakistan's growing strategic relations with China and the escalating tension between Washington and Beijing, too, cast a shadow over future Pak-U.S. relations. Cast a shadow is an idiom meaning create doubt or trouble. The sentence means that Pakistan's closeness to China and U.S.-China rivalry complicate its ties with Washington. Although Pakistan was still engaged by Washington diplomatically, the relationship went into deep freeze. Deep freeze is an idiom meaning a period of no interaction. This sentence means that formal dialogue persisted, but substantive cooperation virtually ceased. Meanwhile, the U.S. tilt towards India, which had emerged as Washington's strategic ally in the region too, affected Pak-U.S. ties. Tilt towards is a phrasal verb meaning to favor. This sentence means that America's growing partnership with India strained its relations with Pakistan. After a long freeze, a thaw was witnessed soon after Trump returned to the White House for the second time. Thaw is a metaphor for a warming of relations. This sentence means that upon Trump's re-election, engagement with Pakistan resumed. In his first address to a joint session of Congress in March this year, the American president praised Pakistan for capturing the mastermind of the deadly attack at Kabul airport in August 2021, which had killed over a dozen American soldiers. Joint session of Congress is a formal meeting of both legislative chambers. In all, this sentence means that Trump publicly acknowledged Pakistan's assistance in counterterrorism. It was apparent that despite hitting a low in their relationship, the two countries continued to cooperate on counterterrorism. This sentence means that security collaboration persisted even amid broad diplomatic chill. The capture of a key terrorist leader of the militant Islamic State group who was involved in the killing of American soldiers in Afghanistan was one such example. This sentence gives a concrete illustration of ongoing counterterrorism cooperation. Counterterrorism assistance helped with the thaw. Thaw, repeated, is the metaphor for warming relations. This sentence means that sharing intelligence and operations against terrorists facilitated improved ties. Recently, CENTCOM Chief Gen Michael E. Kurilla detailed how such cooperation had led to the capture of the terrorists. CENTCOM is jargon for the U.S. Central Command. This sentence means that a senior U.S. military official publicly credited Pakistan's role. They, Pakistan, are in an active counterterrorism fight right now, and they have been a phenomenal partner in the counterterrorism world, Kurilla said in his testimony before the House Armed Services Committee in Washington. This sentence means that U.S. military leadership formally praised Pakistan's ongoing security efforts. Yet another significant breakthrough in the relationship between the two countries came with America's role as peacemaker in the recent conflict between India and Pakistan. Peacemaker is a noun meaning mediator. This sentence means that Washington's intervention during India-Pakistan skirmishes marked a new chapter. President Trump claimed it was U.S. intervention that prevented a nuclear war between the two nations, though India has continued to deny yielding to outside pressure. Yielding is a verb meaning surrendering or giving in. This sentence means that Trump credited U.S. diplomacy for averting escalation, while India denies being influenced. It may have been the first time that trade was leveraged by an American administration in peace diplomacy. Leveraged is a verb meaning used as a tool. Peace diplomacy is a jargon term for negotiations aimed at conflict resolution. This sentence means that Washington may have used the threat of tariffs and economic incentives to broker de-escalation. The episode reflected a significant change in Washington's stance on the Pakistan-India conflict. Stance is a noun meaning position or policy. This sentence means that U.S. involvement marked a departure from previous non-intervention. In recent times, America had shown little interest in facilitating bilateral engagement beyond reactive diplomacy to manage crises. Bilateral engagement is jargon meaning direct talks between two countries. Reactive diplomacy is a jargon phrase meaning ad hoc responses to events. This sentence means that earlier U.S. policy avoided proactive peacemaking, focusing only on immediate crisis control. But Trump's public and vocal intervention in this case marked a departure from Washington's long-standing policy of dehyphenating its relations with the two South Asian nations. Vocal intervention means outspoken involvement. Dehyphenating is a jargon term meaning treating India and Pakistan separately rather than as two sides of one ledger. This sentence means that Trump broke with the U.S. norm of not mixing its ties to India and Pakistan, instead directly engaging in their dispute. Some analysts see the change as the Trump administration's move to recalibrate its tilt towards India. Recalibrate is a verb meaning adjust. This sentence means that observers interpret this peacemaking role as part of a broader U.S. shift favoring India. India is certainly not happy that the U.S., which it considers a strategic ally, tried to play the role of arbiter. Strategic ally means a partner in long-term security interests. Arbiter is a noun meaning judge or mediator. This sentence means that New Delhi resented Washington's attempt to neutralize their bilateral dispute, yet there is a limit to the role of an external power in bridging the widening cleavage between two warring neighbors. Cleavage is a metaphor meaning a deep division. Warring neighbors refers to India and Pakistan as longtime adversaries. This sentence means that foreign interventions can only go so far in resolving entrenched bilateral conflicts. Pakistan's expectations that Washington could help bring itself and India to the negotiating table are unrealistic. This sentence means that Islamabad's hopes for U.S.-brokered direct talks with India are unlikely to be fulfilled. Historically, the Islamabad-Washington engagement has been framed narrowly, dictated either by short-term security interests or a common challenge. This repeated point underscores that past ties focused only on limited shared threats. But the growing interest in rare earths and other minerals has also come to define the Trump administration's policy towards Pakistan. Rare earths is a jargon term for critical minerals used in high-tech industries. This sentence means that Washington's economic agenda, securing supply chains, now shapes its approach to Islamabad. Several U.S. companies have reportedly shown an interest in Pakistan's emerging mineral sector. This sentence means that American businesses are eyeing opportunities in Pakistan's mining industry. But security issues in the region, where most of the mineral deposits are supposed to be located, makes it hard to attract foreign investment. Foreign investment is a noun phrase meaning capital from outside the country. This sentence means that ongoing instability in resource-rich areas deters U.S. companies. Pakistan is also close to reaching a deal with Washington on tariffs that is likely to give it an advantage over other competitors. Tariffs is a noun meaning import duties. This sentence means that Pakistan may secure preferential access to the U.S. market. Pakistan's exports to the U.S. are over $5 billion, annually 18% of the total exports of the country. Textile products comprise 75 to 80% of total exports to the U.S. Textile products is a jargon phrase for fabrics and garments. This sentence means that America is a major market for Pakistani goods, especially clothing. For Pakistan, the U.S. remains an important trading and economic partner. This sentence means that despite geopolitical ups and downs, economic ties endure. But there is also a need to be cautious so that the country doesn't become a tool in America's regional conflicts at the cost of relations with strategic allies. A tool in America's regional conflicts is a metaphor meaning an instrument used by Washington to further its own conflicts. This sentence means that Islamabad must guard against being used against India or China to its own detriment. These concerns are heightened in the backdrop of growing regional tensions that directly or indirectly involve the U.S. This sentence means that rising rivalries, U.S.-China, India-Pakistan, make Pakistan's navigation of alliances increasingly fraught. Pakistan must not allow itself to be sucked into America's wars. Sucked into is a phrasal verb meaning drawn unwillingly into. This sentence means that Islamabad should avoid becoming embroiled in U.S. military or economic conflicts. The writer is an author and journalist. Hussain100 @yahoo.com. X @Zahid Hussain. Published in Dawn, July 30th, 2025.